Marie, what are we doing?
We're going on a trolley tour.
And what you see here, the transportation center is right near the aquarium, and behind it, next to the Marriott, they have parking inside the garage or in the open field. And you can see Brian has the kayaks on the roof, so he is higher than 6'3", so he is not in the garage. He's out exposed to the elements.
That's right.
You ready, Gene?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Hop right on, folks.
Yeah, and you have 4, right?
I got 4.
Great.
All right.
Watch your step, a little bit of a gap there.
All right, where do you want to sit, Scott?
Just a window seat anywhere.
Okay, well, do you want to be in toward the front?
Yeah, this is good, I guess.
Okay.
The foundation of this, one thing you want to remember, the foundation of the city is based on religious freedom. Religious tolerance was the mantra of Rhode Island as a colony, okay? So we were founded in 1639, officially, April 1639. And the whole reason it was settled was because of religious dissenters, okay? So yeah, some of the first things you'll see. We have 2 original denominations. We have did you know we have the oldest synagogue in the United States? We have the oldest synagogue. We have the oldest Quaker house. A lot of people aren't aware of that. We have the 2nd oldest Methodist. Yeah, 2nd oldest Baptist. So I'll show you all these. So this is all within here. A lot of Revolutionary War history, a lot of naval history. This is, if you came over the bridge up here, this is the naval base. Well, it used to be a very large naval base when I was a kid. The economy of the city of Newport when I was a kid was there were 24 destroyers up here. Imagine that. And all their families and that. But that's all changed. I'll talk about that. But the majority, yeah, so this is where I'll reference the map. The majority of the tour will be out on this this orange loop here, okay? So see this line here? This is the Ocean Drive. So this is where all the pretty views of the ocean are down here. And then it eventually turns yellow. That's the opulent end of Bellevue Avenue. And all of those numbers are associated with these grand mansions and these cottages of the Gilded Age, okay? So I'll show you all these. I'll fill you in on all that. I think the most important thing to remember about the mansions, they were built before income tax. If you can think of that. Imagine that. There were no, well, through the Congress, there was no income tax until 1913, 1914. So these houses, at least in Newport, built like they were all the big ones, like 1890 to 1910.
Now this is the main gate here. So if this is your first time taking a peek at it, there it is there. It's a very famous home here. So Richard Morris Hunt, the architect.
Hitting the breakers. Gonna see how the top 1% lives.
I think this is beyond the 1%.
Yeah, the 1/10 of 1%.
100.
Hey, how you doing?
Famous opulent mansions of the city, or cottages of the Gilded Age. There it is there. So this was, it's funny, they market this house as William K. Vanderbilt's, but this house was really spearheaded and built by the wife, Alva Vanderbilt. 1892, she had the big heart. Literally had very.
So this was a cottage.
So this is the marble house cottage of one of the Vanderbilts in Newport.
You up on the top.
Now these homes are maintained by the Preservation Society, and you can record and take pictures inside, but only for personal use. So I can only display pictures and video from the outside. Now, the Preservation Society does sell a ticket, I believe it's $70, that gets you into the 7 mansions that they manage. So that's a pretty good deal. Preservation Society did a great job at maintaining these properties, and when you go in and see them, it is fascinating to see the quality craftsmanship that is in these buildings, and also the fact that it took about a staff of 40 to run them for the 8 weeks that the families would use them in the summer.
And this is a great stretch, folks, if you want to support local people that born and raised here, trying to make a living around here. This is a great stretch along here, Broadway. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in my Catholic school. I was a history and religion teacher. But keeping with the history, look down to your right as I make this turn here. See the Museum of Newport History? That's the old brick market building. That building there dates to 1760. You get the arches there? Yeah. That's a wonderful museum, though. It's a very small, concise museum. Now, the brick building on your right, which is now the movie theater, this was a church, unbeknownst to many. When it first opened, this was Mount Zion Episcopal Church. Oh, look, they're going to show Casablanca. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyways, and here's the Viking Hotel, 1926. That's where my mom and dad had their wedding reception. Aww. Yep, right there, 1953. But that was the only show in town in those days. That was the only place to rent a ballroom, you know. So this is, remember I just mentioned Judah Turo. This land belonged to him, so he left this to the city. And so the city acquired, this is called Turo Park. But in the park here, see those folks right there at the statue, folks? I just showed you the statue of Oliver Perry, right? That's his brother, all right? That's Matthew Perry. And he's in the history books. He's the man that successfully opened up the ports of Japan to world trade. Right there. Yeah, that's Matthew Perry there. Matter of fact, this park began our association with the Navy. Yeah, this was the site of the Naval Academy during the Civil War. Look at the plaque, see? At the Elks Lodge and the park. See the plaque right there? U.S. Naval Academy, 1861, 1865. So that began our story with the Navy, yeah. But it's become a landmark because this is where John and Jackie Kennedy were married in 1953. Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's open every day from 10 to 2 to visitors. There's a big industry, since we're on the water, right here called the International Yacht Restoration School. This is the first of the buildings. They have 3 big brick buildings here. This is a big industry, if you will. It's a school, but it's an industry as well. The Marine Trade School here, there on the right. The economy of Newport now, folks, prior to the American Revolution, was the manufacturing of rum. It made a lot of people wealthy in this city, the manufacturing of rum. There were 22 rum distilleries just on this street, just on Main Street. During World War II, that island was the naval torpedo station. That's where they manufactured close to 80% of the torpedoes used by the Navy during the war. And it was the biggest employer for the city, for the civilians. My grandfather worked out there. His sister, my great-aunt Maureen, they all worked out there. And but imagine that, there were like 15,000 people working out there. Imagine that on that little speck of land there. This is called Harbor Port. Now I mentioned the Brown family. This was the Brown estate in the early 1900s. John Nicholas Brown had this built. This man's grandfather was the benefactor of the Brown University as we know it today. Yeah, but this was their Newport house, and it's now the New York Yacht Club. That was his garage. Aft lived up here. That was his garage there. Most of their history, if you will, is up in Providence, with the university and everything. It still stands, the main house. This is the gate. It's called Bonnie Press. Look at the gate to the summer place here. This goes out to the water, out to the harbor, but the property goes all the way down to the bend in the road here. This was Mr. Duncan's land. Stuart Duncan. Now get this. This man's family money was in the manufacturing here in America of Lee and Perrins, Worcestershire sauce. Of all things, yeah. If you take a harbor cruise, which it might be nicer this evening, and maybe you've already taken a harbor cruise. Anyways, you go right by that house. All these men, they were trained here at Fort Adams, but their families, themselves and their families are buried there. Yeah, this is all part of Fort Adams, yeah. There used to be since you brought it up, there used to be a beautiful bust of John Adams there, our second president, next to the name of the fort. You know what this is rented out for? The Eisenhower House? This is all mainly for weddings. Wedding receptions up here. Yep. So this was that building, the house itself was always part of the fort. It wasn't built, specifically for the president. So that was built in right after I'm told right after the Civil War, the house went. It was an officer's quarters. But unofficially, over the years, you might hear people say, "Oh, that was Eisenhower's summer White House in Newport." For the history, this is where John and Jackie. This is where Jackie spent her summers when she was young. Harbor cruise. All the harbor boats come out about this far, and so you see this property from the water. Wow, really pretty. Yeah. So this will be on our right side for another half mile. All this land. This is, I don't know if anyone's from Texas, but this is the Hudson family. They've been here for many years. They're Texas oil millionaires, basically. But this is their summer place here. And here's some of the gardeners here for the Hudsons. Now on the map, I'm in between Price's Neck and Cherry Neck. Cherry Neck is out here, with that house with the white trim there. But there's the ocean again. It belongs to Jay Leno, folks. The former Tonight Show host, right there. That's his place in Newport. He bought that in 2017 for $13.5 million. Yeah. This view does not do it justice. That's, I don't know how many rooms are in there, but Yeah, the property's called Seafair. That's the name of the property. That's the gate. Follow the driveway back to the house. You get a pretty good view of the house back there. Seafair, yeah.
Look at that.
Yep, $13.5 million. But it was a turnkey house, meaning this was Mrs. Astor's house. Caroline Astor, the big queen of the society. So if you're a Gilded Age fan, she's always mentioned. Everybody wanted to be on her, on her register, her list of 400 people. Oh, yeah. Her son was on the Titanic. Her son was the wealthiest guy on the boat, John Jacob Astor. So he drowned. But this is all Larry Ellison's town. And they're still not done here. He's been doing all this landscaping for the last couple of years here. Right after COVID they started this. The Grille family, Ogden Grille. He was a big real estate developer, owned I don't know how many blocks of Manhattan in the day. This was their house, big Catholic family. But they gave this house away in the 1940s. A nephew gave this away. Gave it to the church for $1. For $1. As a tax write-off, I'm sure, but a park. And everything in that house. Furniture, artwork, tapestries. You can walk in there. Just pretend you're going to send somebody there. Just walk through the house. I'm very serious. Just pretend you're going to...
Hey Marie, where are we eating?
Anthony, seafood.
All right, let's check it out. The latest addition to the Bikes, Boats, and Bivouacs crowd is Maury.
When I first saw the thing, I thought it was a camera
Oh.
thing. But I have some camera equipment, and that's why I'm like...
Look, if you enjoyed this video or it helped you, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free. It helps me out a lot. Also, ring that bell. You'll be notified every time I put up a new video, and give the video a thumbs up. That helps it be seen by a wider audience. But more important than all that, go have some fun out there. Hey, thanks for watching.